Stephen Croft secured his first 100 of the LV County Championship season as Lancashire batted out the majority of the last day of their game with Warwickshire in Edgbaston to take the draw, although both sides dreamt of winning the game in the last session. The visitors began the last day on 84 for 2 in their second innings with a lead of 48, and that was added to by a six from Andrea Agathangalou to the 12th ball of the morning. Warwickshire needed early wickets to give themselves a chance of winning for the third time this summer, and in the fourth over of the day, Jitan Patel wreaked his revenge on Agathangalou by having him stumped on 19. And when night watchman Simon Kerrigan was brilliantly caught by Will Porterfield off Boyd Rankin, Lancashire had slipped to 103 for 4 for a lead of only 67. The catch is certainly worth seeing in slow motion. It was one of the best of the season to date. Lancashire needed a partnership and, importantly, one was provided for the fifth wicket by Ashwell Prince and Croft. Prince dealt with the threat of Keith Barker well enough, hitting the left armour for a couple of fours to ensure that Lancashire were not faced with a tough battle to save this game later on. But it was Croft's innings which was the standout. Since being part of the championship winning team back in 2011, the all-rounder has struggled to always nail down a place in the first team in the four-day game, but this innings will surely do his confidence a lot of good. It was a very important knock for a number of reasons. It wasn't all plain sailing for Prince, who was close to being out LBW to Patel, the bowler convinced that the umpire should have raised his finger. While this defensive shot saw the ball very nearly roll back onto the batsman's stumps. Otherwise, Prince and Croft contended with the Warwickshire attack well. They provided shots from the old and new cricket textbooks and crucially negated the major threat of Patel, a man who would have been hoping to bowl his side to victory on a last day pitch in Birmingham. Patel would have expected turn, and he got some to have Prince stumped by Tim Ambrose on 36 to end the partnership with Croft on 76. Croft batted positively, using the switch hit more than once to try to put the bowler off. His wicket was now the big one for Warwickshire to get. He was still there at lunch, having reached a 50 for the first time in some while. He'd scored only 78 runs in 5 championship innings before this one, but this cut 4 off Chris Wright, the 6th of his innings, took him to his half-century off only 55 balls. He went to lunch on 52, which had been made out of his side's 204 for 5, which put them 168 runs to the good, and Croft made sure that he didn't open the door to his opposition after the break by continuing to play his shots to very good effect. He'd put on 45 runs in 9 overs with Jos Buttler, who, on 22, then nicked off to Ricky Clark with the total on 224 and the lead not yet at 200. That was still the case when Varun Chopra dropped the new batsman Tom Smith off Patel, the fielder seemingly seeing the ball a fraction late. Smith also survived, smashing a sweep shot into short leg, the ball ricocheting just over the fielder at mid-wicket to deny us a bizarre dismissal. Smith was out in a more conventional way though, after being beaten a bit for pace by Rankin to lose his off stump via the inside edge of his bat. Smith departed on 20 after an hour at the crease, time when the game was just about saved, with Croft now into the 80s. He then nudged his way towards 3 figures, while his captain and coach Glenn Chappell played some shots before tea. He would have been pleased with the way his side had dealt with what was potentially a tough day. Especially Croft, who reached what was just his 7th first-class 100 in his 165th innings. It had been a very good one too, coming off only 114 deliveries, from which 10 fours had been struck by the 29-year-old from Blackpool. He'd even given his captain the opportunity to declare, and that's what Chappell did at tea after he'd moved on to 34 with a 6 off Laurie Evans. His one over cost 15 runs. With Croft making 104 not out, Lancashire declared on 322 for 7 in their second innings, and that left their hosts a target of sorts of 287 to get in the 40 overs that remained, or more realistically, not to lose many early wickets, just to see out a few before the draw was settled on at 5 o'clock. I say that, but initially it looked as if Warwickshire were going to give it a go, as Chopra and Porterfield struck a number of clean boundaries, as they took 48 runs off the first 11 overs. Totals such as 287 were often made in the 40-over competition we had in this country last year. A horrible mix-up in the running then set the home side back. Chopra made a move as if he was heading back for a second to sell his partner a dummy. Alex Davis provided the throw and Butler did the rest to run out Porterfield for 20. Only 8 runs came off the next 7 overs, and then Croft continued his excellent day by bowling Chopra out of the rough for 29. Warwickshire had already given up on winning, but their opponents hadn't, especially when Evans edged the ball from Croft onto his pad and then into the hands of Paul Horton at slip. Lancashire were now squeezing their hosts, and Carrigan found plenty of turn from the pitch to make this a rather nervy time for the home side. And it got even more nervy for them when more big spin from Croft had Sam Hain out for a 16-ball duck, padding up. There were 4 overs left when Kerrigan then bowled Ambrose with another perfect left-armer's delivery. So it was left to Clark and Atiq Javid to block out the remaining time. Javid did well to see out 74 balls for his 20 runs, and in doing so, he ensured that, after all, this game was drawn. Croft ending with figures of 3 for 29 to go with his ton. Warwickshire finished on 86 for 5 to take 10 points from this game to Lancashire's 9. The two teams now sit alongside each other in the table. Warwickshire in 6th, 10 points above the bottom 2 and 34 off the lead. Lancashire, who played a game more, are 8 points further behind. They head to Durham next, while Warwickshire go to bottom team Northamptonshire, with both games starting on Sunday.